Welcome back to the Hermitcraft FTB server. Things have been going pretty good. I've even been a little bit busy. I've built a new little observation deck, ye old observation deck, complete with ladder for non-flyers. And that says that because right here is the location. The Mistcraft book that I have in the nether that comes to this base, I replaced it with one that comes up here to this observation deck. And now visitors will arrive right there. And so I thought that was pretty cool. I like it because it gives a very nice view of the surrounding area. Okay, it doesn't show you much about what's straight down, but that's easy enough to find. You go down there. Anyway, been working with the situation for the fusion reactor fuel, and right now what I've got down here is 6 of these machines, industrial centrifuge, each one processing hydrogen cells to produce deuterium, and that's great. However, I stopped to do some reading on a couple of wikis actually, and it come to find out that in order to power the fusion reactor, you have to be able to provide it with a deuterium cell or the equivalent thereof, the equivalent of one deuterium cell, about every 5 or 6 seconds. That's a lot of deuterium. In order to produce that much, you see how long these things take. And actually, if I grab one of these, let's not treat the bees. Okay, I'll get to the bee. Now, if I hit U on this, get the uses of a hydrogen cell, and I toggle over here to the industrial centrifuge, I get a deuterium cell every 150 seconds. And so if I bring up a calculator and I take 150 seconds and divide it by 5, that means I need at least 30 of these things processing deuterium just to make the deuterium at a pace that will keep up with the fusion reactor's demand. Then I would need another 30 of them processing deuterium that will be processed into tritium at an equivalent pace to keep up with the reactor's demand. But then it occurred to me, there is another alternative. Helium-3. Helium-3 is made in the industrial centrifuge by processing endstone dust. You get sand, tiny pile of tungsten dust, helium cell, and helium-3. Now, interestingly enough, the helium cell, if I hit the uses on that, and toggle over here to the centrifuge, 16 helium cells make a helium-3 cell. So that's good. Process endstone dust into helium-3. Helium-3 and deuterium is an alternate fuel combination for the fusion reactor. So I'm thinking all I have to do is set up a bunch of pulverizers to pulverize endstone dust, pulverize endstone to make endstone dust, and then run that into a batch of industrial centrifuges to produce helium-3. Okay, that's great. Where am I going to get that much endstone dust? Well, a while back I made something, and then I forgot why I made it, and I still don't remember my original purpose for making it. But the tome of Alka-Hest, whatever. I call it the Book of Alka-Seltzer. And I think that's an appropriate name. But you see, the Book of Alka-Seltzer, if you take a bit of redstone and some endstone, yeah, I think that's it. Okay, so you take Tome of Alka-Seltzer, the Book of Alka-Seltzer, a bit of redstone, and a bit of endstone. You get 17 endstone, and it eats the redstone. So, that book is a source of infinite endstone. These bees are the answer. These bees I came up with today, after doing some reading and figuring out that this was in fact the answer. I went over here to the bee lab and I found some cultivated bees and some valiant bees, and I crossbred them and got excited bees. Excited bees produce glowing combs. Glowing combs, when centrifuged, produce, predictably, they produce honey drops. They produce beeswax, and they produce redstone. And so, I am going to have perhaps 10 or 15 alvearies with excited bees in them, producing redstone. I turn that energy pulsar on, and this is the first of a whole lot of excited bees. The excited bees will produce lots of redstone because in this redstone and endstone and Book of Alka-Seltzer combination, you're going to go through a lot of redstone to maintain a sufficient supply of endstone, which can then be ground into endstone dust and used to make helium-3. So, there we go. Oh, let me check on this. Okay. That's recharged. That one is purified. Get this one done. And the effect cancellation serum was very important for the excited bees because their effect is lightning. You put an excited queen in an aviary or an alveary and you are going to get lightning. And while that sounds really cool, and in a way I suppose it actually is really cool, it's bloody dangerous. You know, I'll tell you what, and before I even had these things, before I'd even thought of this, or read about it, or whatever it was, I was out here working on this platform, which, as you can see, each of these square holes is the future home of an alveary. And I was out here putting this framework together, and I got hit by lightning. I'm serious. I do not BS you. I'm right about here, putting down dirt to make this thing, and I got hit by lightning. If it weren't for all this quantum suit stuff, I'd have been toast right there. And yes, I'm tearing out the walls of the bee lab. I'm going to probably end up changing the design somewhat, because once I can get all these guys treated with cave-dwelling serum and so on, so that they don't necessarily have to see the sun, I may change the layout of this place considerably, and so on. So this original building is going to change a lot over time, I think. Although that's not a high priority. The high priority right now is producing lots of stuff with these guys. So, that is a beginning of more fusion reactor fuel. The farm bees have been doing a very good job of producing the needed supply of seed oil. I've got lots and lots of impregnated sticks, and I'm still getting more seed drops and stuff like that coming in every now and then. Fairly often, actually. I even get some seeds coming in from the farms over there every now and then, but the bees are producing the lion's share. So I think what I want to do is while I wait for this group to produce a whole stack of the excited drones, I want to take one line of these things, say for example this line here, all the way up, and fill it with farm bees. That will pretty much guarantee having enough seed oil to make sure that I have sufficient supply of seed oil and so on for the frames. And okay, it's these guys, the tropicals. I'm going to finish out the rest of this line with tropicals because they produce the combs that make the propolis that makes string. Okay, well, they make this stuff, I know. I need to double check who makes what, but the ones that make the propolis that make string, I need to make sure that I've got plenty of those going, plenty of the farm drones to make the seed oil and so on. And then as I get enough of them, I'm going to make, like I said, an entire line of these things that will be full of the redstone producing bees. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 of them, if I got my count right. 13 alvearies of bees producing redstone. I don't know if that'll be enough or not, but it will certainly be a lot, because combined with the output of the quarries, then that should be pretty good. Okay, I'm going to see about getting some stuff together to get some expanded processing. I need to expand the processing for deuterium and set up processing for helium-3. And so once I get the deuterium processing expanded out, I'll be back and we'll set up for deuterium-3 or helium-3, whatever, you know what I mean. Okay, I've got an object lesson for anybody willing to listen to it. I had my excited bees in here. I was busy setting up new alvearies and so on, and I came back to check, and as you can see, there are no bees in here. Why did that happen, perhaps? Well, I can tell you why, and I can tell you what happened to them. They despawned. The reason they despawned is because this thing, sensing there was something in the inventory, energy pulsed and pulled the stuff out. But it couldn't go anywhere because this pipe had never been set up. I didn't set black to anything, or bees, any bees to white, and I didn't set items to green, which means the bees just popped out of the pipe and laid here and despawned. Now, because of my carelessness and whatnot, I now have to go back into the lab and re-engineer these bees. That's going to take the better part of an hour. So, the object lesson is pay attention to your bee plumbing. Make sure it's set right. Double check it and triple check it. Otherwise, valuable bees that you spend a lot of time engineering are going to end up on the floor and despawn when you don't notice it because you're off doing something else. Isn't it just wonderful? Now, I'll be back after I've re-engineered these bees and re-injected them with the nocturnal and productivity and effect cancellation serums. Well, It's taken a while, but I have come up with not one but two pairs of excited princess and drone, and they've been treated with effect cancellation to stop the lightning, because that was done by lightning. And they've been treated with nocturnal, and they've been treated with maximum fertility. So let's put these jobs to work. And I have already double checked my plumbing down here, but just to make certain, anything, any bees, items. And here, anything, any bees, items. So let's go ahead and make sure the energy pulsers are turned on. Alright, good deal. Now we have the beginnings of bee-operated redstone production. And as these guys build up a decent supply of drones, I will start introducing them to random princesses in these other alvearies that are yet to be completed. And we will start the process of producing lots of redstone for use with the Book of Alka-Seltzer. Okay, we've got, speaking of excess bees here, I took a pile of drones off of one of the tropicals, put in actually it was a rocky princess I put in with it. But eventually, since the only drones that can come in here are going to be those that are identical to these, the princess and eventual queen will eventually be a tropical. And the same thing here. It won't take too awfully long, just a few generations, and then that will be that. So that will ensure enough production of the right kind of propolis. At least I think that's the one that makes the silky propolis. I'm going to feel kind of stupid if it isn't, because I've got a lot of them. Anyway, I'll have to look that up. I've been so busy worrying about them bees and stopping everything. Every once in a while I get one in here that was all excited and still had the lightning effect, because I had to start my breeding off from scratch. And I get one with the lightning effect. As soon as there's a bolt of lightning, stop everything, run down, do the effect cancellation. And strangely enough, had to do it 3 or 4 times on both lines before it finally took sufficiently to be passed on to the next generation. Well, of course, it was being applied to a queen, which doesn't necessarily affect the offspring. And there was no point in applying it to the generation prior, because they didn't have the effect to begin with. You have to wait until the effect shows up before you can cancel it. Anyway, that's what's going on with the bees right now. I'm going to actually I'm going to take some time and look up to make sure of which bees are producing that silky profile. Wait a minute, I can look it up here in Aviaris database. Alright, this is the one I want. Diligent, unweary, industrious, valiant, modest, tropical, silky combs. Okay, I do believe that's the one I want. Let me look that up here. Get rid of that blasted caps lock. Silky combs produce silky propolis. Alright, let's hit the uses for the silky comb. Click outside of that, and then click U for the uses on the silky comb. Silky propolis, and if I get the uses for silky propolis, letters, we don't care about that, we don't care about this, but you get silk wisp and regular propolis. And so the silk wisp is automatically auto-crafted into string. The regular propolis, what uses do we have for that stuff? I know there was something that was needed for. Okay, with pollen you can make slime. With ash and peat you could make bituminous peat. And of course apiarist pipe, letters, and all this stuff, various wax casts in the thermionic fabricator. And apparently different colors of stained glass. Okay, not worried about that. Maybe someday, but not right now. Alright. And yes, I've cleared a lot of the area under here. Everything. And just to make it easier to get around here. And a lot of this stuff, yes, a lot of this stuff in here is going to come out eventually. But I'm not going to race to it. And hey, looky here, we have got glowing combs. And I've already set up a centrifuge down here to process glowing combs. So they are already adding to the redstone supply. Very good. Now all we need to do is just get a whole bunch more of these, a whole bunch of drones built up so that I can start spreading these guys out to more alvearies and increase production. Meanwhile, I'm going to need to check on things down below in the factory and figure out just exactly what I need to do down there. Alright, I decided to hang around here just to make sure these bees were getting off to a good start. And this set apparently is. Well, the set of excited bees that was in here didn't turn out quite as I expected, because here we have a cultivated excited hybrid. That is unacceptable. It means I need to wait until this one produces some drones that are compatible and put those with this to get it bred into what I'm looking for. And so I'm going to be hanging around here a little bit longer because I really want to get these things going on automatic. And for the moment I'm going to leave these two alvearies turned off and handle them manually until such time as they are producing drones that stack. Because when the drones stack, you know that's a pure line. But right now, the reason I turned this stuff off is because I saw the bees jump out of there and just go down the unwanted bees line. And that's because nothing fit. They were apparently not all the same, and of course it's too late to go grab them because they get down to the liquefier pretty quickly, and I was busy turning this stuff off to prevent any more from going out. So I'm going to hang around here until this queen produces offspring, and basically until this alveary has offspring produced that stacks. Once that happens, I can take a few of them and move them over here with this cultivated excited hybrid, and leaving it on manual as well, and get myself another batch of excited bred back up. Alright, made some progress here. See, this one batch, this was purebreds, and the first thing I did was I went to both alvearies and I manually replaced the frames with chocolate frames so they'd breed faster, the life cycles would be shorter. And once this one got up to about a dozen or so drones, I took about half of them and put them with that princess here. And what I did simply was any drones that didn't stack with the ones that were already there got thrown in the juicer. And now, however, they all stack. And as a matter of fact, drones from this alveary stack with the drones from that one. And so that means I've got two copies of one pure line. And so now the thing to do, I'm going to wait till each alveary has a full stack of drones, And then what I'll do is I'll take all but one of them and put them with probably a Rocky Princess in additional alvearies and spread that line out even further, making sure to triple check my plumbing so that I don't lose them like I did that one time. That was embarrassing and needless. So, after this, the next step is to expand the deuterium production and get helium-3 production going. And we'll be doing that very soon.
Warning, hull temperature.